I wear G4 shoes probably more than any other brand. Even though just a few years ago, I thought they were too fashion forward for me. I didn't think I was a good enough golfer. I wasn't sure I would feel confident wearing them. But once I tried my first pair of Gallivanters on, these, I've been hooked ever since. And so every time G4 comes out with a new pair of shoes, it's a reason that I tend to get excited. And so today, I'm excited for these. These are the MG4 Plus O2 G-Lock shoes. Now that is a heck of a name, but essentially, it's the new model of these. These were the original MG4 Plus, which was a great, versatile, spikeless golf shoe. But with the new model, they're changing things up a little bit with these. We got spikes. So today, we're gonna talk about the new G-Lock version of the MG4 Plus. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts after playing a couple rounds with them, help you figure out if it's worth buying them, and if it's not worth buying them, but you wanna stick with G4, which other G4 models you should consider. So, if that sounds interesting, let's do this. So this new model is keeping with the trend we've been seeing from G4 over the last couple years, where they're taking some of their most popular models that are spikeless shoes and making them spiked shoes and calling them G-Lock models. Personally, I love this because even though I mostly wear spikeless shoes, I hear from so many people that's like, no, I want traction, I want spikes, and so they won't even consider spikeless shoes. But what I found with some of these G-Lock models is you kind of get the best of both worlds. They often feel like a spikeless shoe, but they perform like a spiked shoe. And I was reminded of how true this was in all of one golf hole playing with these new shoes. But before we talk about performance, let's talk about how they look and my first impressions of them. So for as much as I love the original MG4 Plus, they're starting to feel just kind of a little dated to me. A little stale, like they're fine, but still for a $195 shoe, I feel like I've kind of been there, done that with these. That being said, they have a bunch of new colorways, so if you still like this, this is still a great option. But for me personally, I was kind of ready for something a little bit different. And that's why when the G18 came out last year, this became my go-to shoe. It's a little more fashion forward, super comfortable, but still performed really well on the golf course. But now, this new model, the MG4 Plus O2 G-Lock, is quickly taking over as my favorite G4 shoe. So first impressions of these shoes are great. They look and feel high-end. One thing that G4 does a really good job is mixing materials and textures to give a shoe a little bit more depth, a little bit more variety, but also make it feel more high-end. This is a $225 golf shoe, so it's not cheap. So you want to see some things that make it feel like a higher-end shoe, which this does. So you've got the back pull here for helping you get it on and off, which is nice. Around the heel, you've got this extra plastic support in this kind of cool camo color. The cushy midsole moves even further up on this than it does with the older model. I like the way that looks. And then, as is the case with every pair of G4 shoes, you have the massaging nubbed insoles, which seem weird at first, but once you play with them, you realize it's super comfortable and you don't want to play with anything else. I like the fact that it is a little bit bolder while still being relatively subdued. It's not like so in your face where people are gonna be like, oh my God, what are you wearing? That's so bright and flashy. Now, I'm sure in the future there will be some bright and flashy models of this, as G4 does, but this one in particular with white, navy, and kind of this Volt yellow color, I personally really like a lot. So when I first put them on, there were absolutely no surprises. As with every other pair of G4 shoes I've owned, they are so comfortable. And personally, I've never really had traction issues with any of the spikeless shoes that I've worn, but when I started wearing these and started walking around in them, I noticed a difference with how much traction they had compared to the spikeless model. As I walked around the course, as I hit shots, I felt more planted, I felt more secure, but the thing that surprised me the most was they still felt like a pair of spikeless golf shoes. These are so comfortable. Usually when I'm wearing a brand new pair of golf shoes, I like to ease into it. I like to wear it around a little bit, maybe play 9 holes or maybe play around with a cart so that if there is something that's super uncomfortable, I'm not stuck walking 6 miles in it. But for these, first round, 18 holes, didn't really have a choice, just said I'm gonna go for it. And 18 holes later, my feet felt great. There really was absolutely no break-in period. They were super comfortable from the beginning. And I honestly think these are probably going to become my new favorite G4 shoes as the season goes on. This G-Lock model uses Tour Flex Pro soft spikes. So this is the #1 spike on tour. So these are pretty much the spikes you would want to see on any new high-end spiked shoe, and they perform great. Not that I really had anything else to compare it to, but have absolutely no complaints with the spikes, the traction, everything worked really well. So all that to say, I have absolutely no problems recommending this shoe wholeheartedly. I'm going to be wearing this a lot this season. I've got an upcoming trip to Vietnam, and these are the pair of golf shoes I am going to take with me. So we're going to be playing 4 rounds in Vietnam. I'm excited to wear these. I'm excited to try them out, and it's always fun when G4 comes out with a brand new pair of shoes. Even though these are technically an iteration on these, but they really do feel like a new shoe with the spikes, as well as pretty substantial styling changes compared to the older spikeless model. But what if these don't necessarily appeal to you and you still want to buy a pair of G4 shoes? Well, you've got options. So let's talk about some of these other options real quick, and I'll do my best to compare it to these so you can really get a sense of what you're looking for if you're in the market for a pair of G4s. Okay, so let's start with these. These are the MG4 X2s. So this is their kind of all-day shoe. You can wear this on the course, you can wear this off the course, you can wear this as a trainer. When I first got this model, I was like, there's a lot going on here. I am not sure about these, but the more I've worn them, the more I have loved them. These are ones that I've worn on travel days, I've worn them on planes, I've worn them walking around cities, and I've worn them on the golf course. And if you look at the soles, you will see they definitely don't have the same traction as a spike shoe or even some of the more robust golf-focused spikeless shoes that G4 has. If you're playing a casual round, these totally suffice on the golf course. So I don't necessarily think these are a replacement for these. These are probably not golf shoes you're going to be wearing for every single round, but if you're looking for something versatile that you can travel with or use on an emergency 9 or kart golf, this is an excellent and versatile shoe, and comes in at just under $200. So what you're gonna find with all of these is G4 shoes definitely aren't cheap. You can often find pretty much all of these models, except I wouldn't expect to see this go on sale anytime soon, but you can often find different colorways of these models at lower prices. So keep an eye out both at g4.com as well as Golf Galaxy. Also, if you have not bought from G4 before, for your first order, you can use our coupon code below, which is going to save you an additional 10%, which is going to make any of these shoes just a little bit more palatable. Next, we have the original MG4 Plus. I've basically given you my concerns about this. Excellent shoe, but it's been around for a while, so I like to freshen things up. But if you like the idea of this and still want a spikeless shoe, then this is still an excellent way to go. Like I said, I've played dozens of rounds in this shoe. Absolutely love it. No complaints. That being said, when the G18 came out last year, that's kind of what replaced the MG4 Plus for me. So this is definitely a more fashion-forward shoe. It's a spikeless model that's got some cool design elements with the spikes kind of going all the way up onto the side of the toe box. This shoe is also a little bit wider. Some of the G4 shoes can run a little bit more narrow, a little bit more on the small side. I have found these to have plenty of room in the toe box. So if you're looking for a G4 shoe that's a little more spacious, I think the G18 is an excellent choice. Now we have one of the most unique shoes in G4's lineup. These are the Galavan Tours. So these are kind of like a cross between the spikeless MG4 Plus and their more traditional tour shoe, the Galavanter. So they basically took the styling cues from the Galavanter, but the fit of the MG4 Plus. So it essentially just kind of looks like a spiked shoe while having the comfort of a spikeless shoe. I like the fact this particular colorway is super subdued on top, navy and white, but then on the bottom you have some big pops of color. Also, I'm sorry, I wear all these golf shoes. I didn't clean them thoroughly before this video, so if they're a little dirty, well, that's what you get when you wear golf shoes. They get a little dirty. If you like the idea of the more casual Galavan Tour style, there's also a G-Lock version of this if you do want a spiked version of it, so definitely check those out. But for me, as much as I love these shoes, I love these even more. These are the original Galavanter shoes, so they've got a very traditional tour-level golf shoe look, real leather up top, but on the bottom, it's essentially a spiked model without removable spikes, so it worried me that these were gonna wear down really quickly or not have enough traction. No, they're sharp, and I've played probably 20 rounds in this shoe, and they're still really sharp. That being said, there is also a G-Lock version of this if you want more traditional spikes. So I think it's more of a styling option. The G-Lock version's a little bit newer. There's some very subtle changes, so really kind of depends on just what you like there. But I would wholeheartedly recommend either a pair of the Galavanters or the Galavanter G-Locks. Again, I think they just look iconic. They look cool. And every time I wear them and I look down at my feet, I just feel a sense of confidence. Like, oh yeah, I am a golfer. I do look good. Let's go. And then you pop a drive 270 down the fairway and on you go. So not that that happens all that often, but I feel really good when it does. So with these, you could certainly make them your all-day, everyday shoe, but they are a little bit more on the stiff side. They are very comfortable, but if you're walking like 36 holes a day in them, by the end, your feet might be a little more tired than if you were choosing some of these other models. I think where the new shoes fit in with this is it's kind of a do-it-all. So you don't get the styling of the Galavanters, but you do get a shoe that has the comfort, the walkability, the wearability of a spikeless shoe while getting tour-level performance difference in traction and stability, and I think that that's what's going to make this so appealing for so many people. So I've only played 2 rounds in it so far, but those 2 rounds really impressed me enough to say that I think these are probably going to be my go-tos for the coming months. As much as I love the G18s, in a recent video I said these were my current favorite golf shoes. Well, with a few more wears, I think these, they may take over. So with that, my name is Sean Ogle. I'm the founder of this thing here at Breaking 80, where we talk about cool golf products and cool golf courses. If you're still not sure which pair of golf shoes is right for you, go take our 30-second quiz. You're gonna answer a few questions around what you were looking for, and I'm gonna give you my best recommendation on the shoes that are the best fit for you. With that, I hope you have an excellent day, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.